optimistic in a recent interview, and also blaming a lot of stuff on the pandemic, because that's the easy out now. If you didn't do something over the last year, oh, it's because of the COVID. I couldn't do anything. Even in my day job as a cook, people are, oh, it's post-pandemic, you're fine. Hello, nerds. It is a good day to do the thing. So we have a huge episode, not gonna lie. It's a lot of fun. Dune is in both movie news and TV streaming news. We have some a really big rumor section, and this is an intro. Housekeeping for the episode. We are doing our big push on the social media. If you are following me on the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Getter, I'm working my way back over to Instagram. So if you're already following me on the Instagram, then thank you very much, and you'll be seeing more content there soon. But if you're not following me on Instagram yet, probably don't worry about it. But Instagram, Facebook, and the like definitely have been a lot more active over the last few weeks since we've been doing this social media push. There is a lot of pieces, rumors, and actual news pieces that aren't making it into the episode for various reasons that I am posting up there that we can have those conversations about if you are so inclined. So if you are looking to further your nerd news knowledge, you just want to have a conversation about certain pieces that didn't make it into today's episode or any other episode, follow me on Twitter at generally_nerdy, or Facebook at generally nerdy, or on Getter at generally nerdy. Yeah, I am on all three and relatively active on all three, more so Twitter and Facebook, but you know, it is what it is. So again, the reason we are doing such a push for the social medias is because I am trying to get some bigger interviews. I'm trying to get more frequent interviews, and the only way I can do that is if I have the followers on the social media outlets and the interactions. So definitely, I'm trying to be as 100% transparent with this as possible. It is not entirely altruistic, because you know it helps me out a lot. Not only do I get to interact with you nerds, but I also get to bring more content to the channel, and that nothing would make me more happy than to be able to do that. So yeah, there is a lot of tours coming through that I'm trying to get interviews with bands. There's definitely Comic-Con happening, Denver Comic-Con, Salt Lake Comic-Con, Starfest in Denver, a bunch of Comic-Cons. I would love to be able to travel further than Salt Lake, go down to Phoenix for the Phoenix Comic-Con, I forget what they call it. Go out to Atlanta for Dragon Con, all of the things. The only way to do that is for this social media push. So definitely find me on the social medias. Look for the Nerdy Ninja. That is my logo. You will find me shortly behind the Nerdy Ninja, posting all of the things and having all of the conversations. That being said, we have no shout outs for this episode, so we're just going to jump right into the news. We are in music news. This is a huge episode. I'm not gonna lie, huge episode. 5 pages, full ass notes. So that is where we are starting. In music, we have no follow-ups, but we do have one new music video. Comes from Coheed and Cambria from that new record. There is a little bit of a follow-up involved with this music video. The name of the music video, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, is Shoulders. Again, it is from their new record. And then the little bit of a follow-up associated with this is the new record. I was unsure when I did the piece in the last episode, but the new record is going to be part of the big epic Coheed and Cambria story. It is not going to be another Departure record, record like they had, I believe that was 2 records ago. So very interesting. That is the one element of that band that I absolutely love. So I'm super excited about that. That is all we have in new videos though. So let's get into tours. Some big heavy hitters are announcing tours. We have a new tour from the Rolling Stones has been announced. Well, not exactly new. This is the reschedule because of the, you know, everything got canceled because of the Coovie. So we have 13 dates, are apparently the only dates that got canceled from their tour that they were in the middle of. Those dates start in St. Louis, Missouri on September 26th and run through November 6th out in Las Vegas. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Again, only 13 dates, but if you are looking for tickets, you can find a link down in the description. The next tour that we have, the only other tour we're talking about ever so briefly, is going to be Sebastian Bach. The original lead singer for Skid Row is doing an anniversary tour for Slave to the Grind. This is the actually 31 years. 30 years would have been last year. But 30-year anniversary for Slave to the Grind, their big breakout record. He's going on tour with his band that's been backing him for a little while now, and doing that record from front to back, plus some other Sebastian Bach solo work. And this is kind of noteworthy for a number of reasons. It's smaller venues, so if you wanted to see them, you know, if you wanted to see Skid Row forever ago and you didn't get that opportunity, you're gonna see them in a pretty decent little club this time. I mean, I guess the venue they're coming through in Colorado is the Gothic, so it's not little, but it's a smaller venue. And yeah, just very awesome if you're a Skid Row fan. That's really the only Skid Row record I absolutely love, so I'm pretty stoked about it. But this is also noteworthy because last year, and actually 2 years ago, before the Coovie hit, the Skid Row band proper, the band that is still together, so all of the other members of Skid Row, were talking about doing this very same thing. Things got in the way, and then everything got shut down because of the Coovie, and now they're saying, maybe we'll do the 40-year anniversary. Well, this is me just putting words in their mouth at this point, but we'll let Sebastian do his 30-year thing. We'll catch it on 40. So tour dates, there's a bunch of tour dates. You're starting in September 24th in Waterloo, New York, running through December 17th in San Diego. And really, in each stretch of shows, there's only like a couple of days off in between them. So he's really hitting it hard. There's a fair amount of tour dates on this. So again, link down in the description if you are looking to grab tickets. And then we're on to news. We have one piece from Live Nation. Live Nation just announced that they're going to be doing tickets, it starts next Wednesday, so the 28th. They're going to be doing $20 tickets to a laundry list worth of artists and shows. On this list, Megadeth, Slipknot, I believe the Foo Fighters are on there. It's seriously like, and maybe not the most relevant artists as far as like the pop and the lighter stuff goes, but I mean, Megadeth and Slipknot, hello! So if you're looking for some wicked cheap tickets, then definitely check out Live Nation. Again, the 28th is when all of these tickets will go on sale. I believe they're just going to go until they sell out, or until they hit the following Wednesday. It's only going on sale for a week, although I would be very surprised if it lasts that long. So, $20 a ticket. Definitely go check it out Wednesday the 28th. That's what we've got on that one. Next, we are doing a Weezer update. In 2022, Weezer has a very lofty goal. This year, they will have released 2 albums. In 22, they are planning on releasing 4 albums. And not just 4 albums, but 4 themed albums. It's themed, supposed to go with the seasons. So you've got a summer, fall, winter, and spring themed records. And there's a different style associated with each theme, and it's really kind of a massive undertaking. I'm very interested to see, kind of a passive Weezer fan. I haven't been super deep in Weezer since roughly the Blue album, but yeah. Pretty interesting. We will be keeping tabs on it as they come out and see how they do. But that is everything we have in music, nerds. Now we jump into gaming and tech, and starting off the follow-up section in gaming and tech, we are talking once again about YouTube. YouTube, we've talked about a number of things that they're trying to do to diversify their monetization options, which props to them. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done there, but they're at least trying, so you can't fault them for that. But they're going to be rolling out Super Thanks, which is their new tipping system for members of the partner program. So if you don't have 1,000 subscribers minimum and 4,000 watch time hours or minutes, whatever it is, then you do not qualify. For those who qualify, super tipping, or super thanks, I guess is the words I should use. Super thanks are going to be pretty unique in that you don't, as the person giving the tip, you don't get to decide exactly how much you're tipping. There's 4 options for a tip: a $1 tip, a $2 tip, a $2 tip, a $5 tip, a $10 tip, and a $50 tip. These are not related to super chats. These are super thanks. They're just tips. It's not, you don't get to attach a message to the tip. You just get to send it to your favorite content creator. This is going to be rolling out over the next month. Yeah, next month in 68 countries to a limited number of partners, and then by the end of the year, they're hoping to have this rolled out to all members of the partner program. And so coming into 22, everyone can be making all the money. Hopefully, assuming they don't run into any bumps in the road. But if they do, we'll be covering it. That's what we have on that. We're moving next to Netflix. This is a very brief update. So there is the gaming side of Netflix that we've been keeping tabs on that they just announced last week. We now know a little bit more details. They are going to start the gaming side on mobile exclusively. No, there wasn't a specific differentiation between iOS and Android, but it will be only mobile gaming. There are plans down the road to unleash the gaming side on platforms, but no details have been made specific for that, so we're moving on. Our last update has to do with Apex Legends. We now know Seer's abilities. Seer, much like Bloodhound, is going to be a tracker, though instead of seeing their footprints and like the outline of the character, he's tracking heartbeats, which is very interesting. So his passive is he can track the heartbeat of the enemies. His tactical is he sends out drones that can then see the enemy's heartbeats. And then his ultimate is he sends out a whole ton of drones that create a dome. And anyone who travels through the dome, he then tracks while the drones are deployed. So pretty interesting. I don't know how well that's going to differentiate him from Bloodhound, but we'll give it a shot on the stream. Speaking of stream, before we jump into the news for this section, if you missed it, and you probably did, the VOD is going up on the YouTube very soon, but I did my first stream since the move this past Wednesday, so it looks like Wednesdays might be the day that I can squeeze in a stream. Everything's kind of going crazy in my day job life, so this is kind of all I can do now, but once a week is the game plan. We will be doing approximately 2-hour stream in the evening on Twitch. You can find me again, generally_nerdy over on Twitch. Look for the Nerdy Ninja, and that is where I will be. You can follow, join the conversation. I like to talk about the news while we're streaming. I like to talk about things that don't make it into the proper news show while we're streaming. So join me if you've got something to talk about over there, or if you just want to hang back and watch me suck it up on some video games, then absolutely, that is the kind of content you will be getting over on Twitch. But hey, I'm kind of a funny guy, so it's worth it. Anyway, we're jumping into news now for gaming and tech. We just got EA's Play presentation, the state of play or whatever they're calling it, and it was kind of lackluster. Not going to beat around the bush, but what they did do is unveil the Dead Space remake, not reboot, remake. It is entirely retelling the story of Dead Space. Brand new game from the ground up. Everything is going to be 100% new. Still not 100% sure on story being brand new, but there is a trailer down in the description if you want to go click that and check it out for yourself. This is awesome. This is confirmation of a rumor, and we always like those. So yes, Dead Space is coming. I did not see a release date for it, but I did see that it is only coming to next-gen consoles, will not be coming to current-gen consoles. So that kind of sucks, but that is what it is. Our final piece of gaming and tech has to do with Doom. Not the one that came out in 2016, not Doom Eternal that just came out last year or the year before, whatever it was, but Doom that came out in 1990 freaking 3. Old school Doom and Doom 2 both are getting new maps. Multiplayer maps are being brought out from Bethesda. They have hit up the modder community. They used one modder in particular. I can't remember his name right now because I take amazing notes. I cannot, unfortunately, remember the modder's name who they used to do this, but he's doing a series of these map packs rather. They're coming to current gen consoles for free. So thank you, Bethesda, for not bumbling this up, but I'm interested. It's free. We're gonna probably do it on stream, not gonna lie. But that is everything that we have for this episode in Gaming of Tech. Comic books and books really could be called the world of Sabrina for this episode, because that's all we're going to be talking about. We have 2 updates in the world of Sabrina, and first is the bigger one. The second one I feel is a little secondary, but we'll get to that. So the big one is there is a new Sabrina book coming out that is called The Occult World of Sabrina, which is the continuation of the Netflix version of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. They couldn't also call it The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina because there's already a book series by that name that tells a pretty different story than what we got in Netflix. So this is, there has not been a release date announced yet. We do have some cover art, and we do know also that it's going to be at least 2 books worth of material. At least they took some sort of notice to the petition that over 500,000 fans signed. I know usually things like that don't really go anywhere, but this time it kind of went somewhere, so that's pretty noteworthy, and that's pretty awesome. The other piece of Sabrina comic book news that we have is that there's, after almost 4 years of waiting, there is going to be another book in the proper line of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Book number 9 is coming out. This is continuing the Witch War story arc. I think they said that there's at least 1 more book in this story arc as well, but this is not going to be the end of that comic series. We will be getting it. The book number 9 will be released October 13th, so not that far down the road. Hopefully, we will probably see The Occult World of Sabrina sometime end of the year, beginning of next-ish. But if we already have cover art, it might be even sooner than that. They just are nailing down whatever and so on and so forth. So that is what we have this episode for comic books and books. TV streaming is all follow-ups. There is one piece of news, but we have a bunch of follow-ups. So let's just start at the top. First up, Star Trek Section 31, the Discovery spinoff, is still somewhere on the back burner. We have Alex Kurtzman being optimistic in a recent interview, and also blaming a lot of stuff on the pandemic, because that's the easy out now. If you didn't do something over the last year, oh, it's because of the COVID. I couldn't do anything. Even in my day job as a cook, people are, oh, it's post-pandemic, you're fine. That's not an excuse, but okay, as long as we're still getting the promised series, I guess I'll let it slide, but whatever. Our next piece of follow-up news has to do with the Dune series, not the movie, the series that we've talked about, Dune Sisterhood, just got their New showrunner is Diane Ademu-John, who was director on Haunting of Bly Manor. She did work on Empire. She is going to executive produce, she's going to be head writer, and she's going to be showrunner for the new series. And I'm hoping that HBO Max does this right, but we'll see. Next, we're talking about The Last of Us real quick. Last of Us update, casting update. Anna Torv, who you'll remember from Fringe and the like. And she was also in Mindhunter, which, yes, if you haven't watched that, then go watch it. But she was just cast for The Last of Us as Tess. She will be a recurring regular. She's not, or what's the proper word? Recurring guest star. So this kind of upsets a little bit of a rumor that we covered a few episodes back, talking about the return of the show Mindhunter, which again she was part of, but only kind of, because there's very specific language in this. She is going to be a recurring guest star, which means she's not going to be in every episode, which means she's not going to have the same crazy filming schedule as our main characters, which potentially leaves open the opportunity to do a little Netflix series that I like to call Mindhunter. That is kind of awesome because I love David Fincher. So yeah, hopefully this does not mean the end officially 100% for Mindhunter, but it does not look very bright. Next, we're talking about Interview with a Vampire in updates. It was originally supposed to be on Paramount Plus, got dropped there, picked up at AMC. They lost their original showrunner, and they have now picked up a new showrunner. Alan Taylor or not showrunner, I apologize, new director. AMC picked up Alan Taylor, is set to premiere sometime in 2022. Anne Rice and her son Christopher are both involved on the production side of things, so hopefully this is going to be just as amazing as it sounds in my head. But time will only tell there. Alan Taylor had something to do with True Blood. He's no stranger to nerd properties, so hopefully he will do it justice. He is not the showrunner, though. He's not producing. He's just directing, which brings me to a point I kind of wanted to make in the last episode, but I got all tongue-tied and a little excited. So what we are going to talk about very briefly is the very interesting state of TV streaming right now, where whole seasons have one director. So the big difference forever between TV and movies is movies were the playground for the director. The director was the be-all, end-all of the movie. If the director didn't like it, it didn't happen. On TV, though, you had the director was kind of non-consequential. It was more the writers and the producers. Really, the writers and the showrunner. So showrunner, usually a producer. Sometimes we'll direct episodes and be in the writer's room and so on and so forth, but showrunner is the be-all, end-all of a series. Well, now we're kind of adding a trinity to the TV side. You have the writers who decide, you know, what specifically happens. You have the showrunner who has the idea for the main story. Then you have the director for how all of those pieces fit together. So we're seeing a lot less of the director doing single episodes, which is why you saw things like The Flash. Kevin Smith did an episode of The Flash and an episode of Supergirl. You know, you get these directors in for an episode, and it kind of makes series feel a little all over the place, depending on like the differences between the directors. So I'm really excited. Like they've said for a long time, we are in the golden age of television, or of broadcast, I guess is a little more appropriate because streaming is not technically television, but I think, honestly, we plateaued a while ago, and this new outing, this new idea of adding the director as a third in that holy trinity of producing movies and TVs and shows and such, definitely gonna make things a little bit more better, a lot more cohesive as far as the looks of things and the feel of series, at least for the season anyway. But yeah, very interesting. We're gonna be probably keeping this as an overarching conversation for TV streaming, but that is all I have to say about it for the moment. our last piece that we're talking about in follow-ups, and this one is kind of an opinion, well, kind of. This one is totally opinion piece, and honestly, uneducated opinion. So I am going into this 100% acknowledging that I have yet to watch the new He-Man series. I have read the official breakdowns of the first, the official breakdown rather of the first episode because I wanted to know what I was getting into. And so there is some spoiler territory that we're going to be covering. So if you are sensitive to such things and you want to watch He-Man, probably skip forward about 30 seconds to maybe a minute or two. And yeah, we'll be past it. But it seems that the trolls were right this time. And that kind of sucks. So what am I talking about? Remember we talked about rumor that He-Man was going to take a back seat to Teela in the new series. And Kevin Smith said that's not going to happen. Netflix was kind of mum about it, but they put out that trailer that definitely put Teela forward a little bit more than some of the hardcore fans would have wanted. And now it seems in the very first episode, we lose He-Man. Adam dies. He sacrifices himself and then also kills Skeletor. And so for the rest of the series going forward, the current timeline, the front end of the timeline where the main story is taking place surrounds Teela. But that's not what we were promised. Skeletor and He-Man both appear in flashbacks, apparently. But that's not telling the story. That's not surrounding the He-Man series around He-Man. That's putting the He-Man series around a different character, and that's not He-Man. So I don't know. I am still going to watch it again so that I can be 100% informed, because there is some divisiveness. There are people who are really liking it, who claim to have been fans from back in the day, and there's definitely a lot of people hating it that claim to have been fans from back in the day. The thing to note here is that just because a series or movie or something is getting a whole lot of negative reviews on something like Rotten Tomatoes or something along those lines, Metacritic, whatever, those aggregate websites, just because a lot of people are giving it bad reviews does not mean there's some sort of concerted effort amongst people. They're not conspiring together to drop the rating of anything. It just means a lot of people don't like it. I've seen a lot of people saying that He-Man is getting review bombed. It's not review bombing if they're not in cahoots. You have no way of proving that they are in cahoots aside from the fact that they all agree that they don't like the thing. So, I don't know, just a point I wanted to make. But let's get into the actual news. And this one, there's only one piece here for TV streaming, and it's something I've kind of been waiting for a little while, and that is Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, is a TV show I watched a lot when I was younger, when it was actively airing on television. And ever since the dawn of like TV on DVD and now streaming, it's kind of been MIA as far as I've seen in my experiences. So now HBO Max is gonna give us what we want. I honestly, as soon as I got HBO Max, I was like, all right, let's go watch some Lois, and it's not here. Now it's going to be August 3rd. We will get Lois and Clark on HBO Max so that you can go watch your Dean Cain Supermans. Back when there wasn't a whole lot of comic book action on broadcast television, this was a light in the darkness, and that is pretty freaking awesome. So old school fans rejoice. August 3rd is the day it's happening. That, though, is all we've got for TV and streaming. Not quite as big as the rumor mill, but it is still a big section. So let's just get right to it. First, we're going to do the update for Batgirl. Batgirl, they have decided on who is going to play Batgirl, and it is Leslie Grace. Leslie Grace is one of the four that we talked about in the last episode who was potentially going to be getting the part of Batgirl. Honestly, the one of the four that I was kind of hoping didn't get it, but it is what it is at this point. We do know that this is an alternate universe version version of Batgirl. Though, now that we know who is going to play Batgirl, that gives us an idea of who they're looking for to play Jim Gordon. Also feeding into some other rumors that aren't exactly what you're thinking. Honestly, I was a little blindsided by this myself when I found the rumors, so we're going to talk about that in the rumor section. But this isn't that, so we're moving on. Next, we're talking a new follow-up on the Star Trek movie that is coming out soon. Star Trek, I was uncertain if it was going to be Kelvin. Well, reportedly, it is going to be a Kelvin timeline movie, but they don't have any contracts with the Kelvin timeline actors, so that is not 100% confirmed. It is just the presumption amongst basically everybody involved. So that is all we have for follow-ups. We do have a couple of trailers, and I know you were waiting for this. Dune, official trailer number 2. Well, the first one was technically a teaser, so this is the first full-length trailer launching. I have yet to watch it because, again, we're doing a reaction video for it, and yeah, that's gonna happen. Oh, I'm so excited about this. They have also released all of the character posters. I'm going to be getting a hold of all of my movie theaters near me to get one of these because they look amazing. But yeah, check out the link in the description. The release date is October 22nd. Our next trailer is a Witcher trailer, but it is not the Witcher live action anything. This is the animated prequel movie rather that we've talked about previously. This is the first trailer for that. Again, link down in the description. Release date on here is August 23rd for the animated Witcher movie, which is called Nightmare of the Wolf. So that's what we have for trailers. Now let's get into news, and we have Injustice in the news. That is right, the other big NetherRealm property, Injustice movie. This is another animated movie from the same production team that brought us the Scorpion's Revenge and is also bringing us the Defenders of the Realm. Now we're getting an Injustice movie that presumably is going to be telling the story that we got in the first game. No evidence or reason to believe otherwise, so that is what it is. We do have the cast breakdown real quick. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there's a couple of interesting notes here. Very notable here is that these voice actors are not from the games, and some of them have been doing voice for a while, but some of them seem to be pretty new. We have Anson Mount as Batman. There was one other really big one. Oh, Brandon Michael Hall as Cyborg, Edwin as Cyborg, just the one guy. And then again, it's a giant list. Depending on which outlet you're listening or watching to, the list might be in the show notes, or you'll probably have to follow a link to get to the list. But yeah, pretty massive, a whole lot of newcomers to the Batman scene. Very interested to see what happens here, but we're moving on. Next, we're talking about Charlie Cox. Now, this one is kind of to feed rumors, but this is a legitimate news piece in that Charlie Cox was scheduled to be in San Antonio's Celebrity Fan Fest, which is a Comic-Con in San Antonio, duh. But last minute, he backed out. He had to drop that engagement because reasons. It's presumed that he has to go film something. No word as to specifically what, but guess what they're doing reshoots for right now? Spider-Man No Way Home. They're doing some pickups. They're doing things like that. Also, what are they in active production on? She-Hulk. Both filming in New York, so presumably if that's where he's headed, he could be doing one or both of those. Yeah, pretty interesting. Again, not confirming anything, but borderline. So next, we're going to move right along. We have an interesting piece from Netflix dealing specifically with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder now has a 2-year contract with Netflix for first look at any properties he develops. So that's not to say that everything he puts out over the next 2 years will be exclusive to Netflix. That just means Netflix has the first option to make it. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. He seems to be pretty happy at Netflix, he and his wife, who is his producing partner. So I would imagine most of the things that he does over the next couple years gonna be on Netflix. He already has things in the works for Netflix, so there you go. Our next piece that we're talking about is a movie called Nope. If you are a Jordan Peele fan, this is his next one. This is honestly all we really know about it. It's going to be a thriller, is what the tagline says, but that's about it. We'll keep tabs, but I mean, Jordan Peele is the reason why we're covering this, because he's pretty noteworthy, man. So our final piece has to do, it's actually music related, kind of. It's Thelonious Monk is getting a biopic. And so that's music related in and of itself. And then the other half of this is who's going to play Thelonious Monk is Mos Def, whose proper name is Yasin Bey. That's what he goes by these days, but you will recognize him as Mos Def from his previous life as an MC. Pretty huge. I'm actually super excited about this. They are set to go into production on this movie next summer. That, though, is all we have for movies. Kicking off the rumor mill, we have, it's technically a correction. It is not a confirmation nor a refutation, just a correction from a statement that I made previously about a rumor dealing with the Obi-Wan series. The actress that they have reportedly got to play young Leia, her name is Vivian Lyra Blair, and she was in Bird Box. She was Girl from Bird Box, not from Haunting of Hill House. So there you go. That is the one thing there. Now let's get into the actual rumors. We have this image. If you're watching, if you're not watching, you definitely should be. This is an image, just to kind of describe this to you, of Ezra Miller talking to what looks like a body double of Ezra Miller. This is people on the streets taking pictures of the production for the new Flash movie. So there's been a lot of speculation here, especially considering that what looks like the body double has a haircut. There's a lot of rumors going around as to what this means. He's wearing a lot of yellow, so there's those that are saying, well, maybe he's going to be playing an alternate universe version of Reverse Flash, which would be very interesting. Or he's gone back in time, and this is a younger version of him, hence the old hairdo. But it's really noteworthy that he has this apparatus on him that is painted green, like they're going to chroma key it out, that is holding something above their heads. I'm here to tell you, at the very least, the thing that is held above their heads is a microphone. This is how they're miking the scene, which is interesting because it's not how you would generally mic a scene unless you plan on doing a lot of post work to the person with the microphone attached to them. So that lends me to believe that this is very likely is going to be Ezra Miller talking to himself. And then I am one to believe the time travel one, because that is more common in Flash stories. Not exactly unheard of for him to go to other universes, but I feel like that's the route that they're going to be taking in this particular instance, because they have so much else going on in this movie. I don't know. For whatever reason, that is the side of it that I am taking. So we're going to do this in two different likelihoods. Reverse Flash, is this an alternate universe version of Ezra Miller? I tend to not want to believe this generally, but it is still pretty feasible, so we'll put this one at about 35%. Is this Ezra Miller talking to himself from the past? That one I feel like is slightly more feasible. We're going to put that one at 50%. Moving right along to Doctor Strange, there is a new rumor. Kind of inevitably, because we've talked about a number of rumored animated series. And, you know, we do know that they have brought in this animation studio for a very specific purpose. The new rumor says that we're going to be getting a Doctor Strange animated series. Also of note for this is that the executive vice president of film production, Victoria Alonso, again, said very specifically that they have the animation as their focus. So likelihood for this kind of just skyrocketed. We're looking at, we're going to say about 70% likelihood that we're going to see some form of Doctor Strange animated. Limited series, ongoing series, time will tell there. I would imagine limited series, but, you know, we will find out when it happens. Moving right along, we have a Picard rumor that seems pretty feasible. Picard is rumored to be coming back for not just season 2, but also season 3 and season 4. Yeah, fingers, sorry. So we have 2, 3, and 4, which means he's coming back for 3 more seasons. This definitely seems feasible. There's no reason not to. Jean-Luc is a staple in the Star Trek universe. Sorry, almost committed a very nasty faux pas. So likelihood for this one for Picard coming back for 3 more seasons. Yeah, I'll put this at about 70% as well. I don't see any reason to doubt it. Not the strongest source, but also pretty likely rumor. Next, we're talking about, that Daredevil rumor that we were talking about, kinda, sorta. This is a little bit of an update to the spin that we've gotten a number of times in the previous couple months, is that Charlie Cox has apparently signed a contract to appear in multiple Marvel projects. Projects, that's the word I was trying to say. Again, this seems very feasible. If Feige's going to bring him in, it seems that he's not going to bring him in for his own movie or his own series because Feige, but he is going to at least give fans kind of what they're looking for. Considering we are about to get into a lot of legal things in the MCU, it only stands to reason that the legal expert in the MCU, being Daredevil, is going to be the guy that they go to for help. So yes, this one's very freaking likely as well. I'm putting this one right, I'm gonna give it a little bit more than the previous, 75% likelihood. Now we're going to move over to DC, specifically not Teen Titans, but Titans Season 3. There was a new trailer released for that not that long ago. We talked about it, but the fans have kind of been combing through it, and there's been some interesting rumors coming out of this one. The most interesting of which is that apparently Warner Brothers is going to turn Batman into a killer, because they see Batman holding a bloody crowbar, and then he tells Dick Grayson, who becomes Nightwing in season 3, that he has to be a better Batman than he was, presumably because he's going to leave because he's broken his one rule, in which you don't kill. I feel like this one is a little grasping at straws. Not gonna lie, this seems to be fans wanting to find something to hate. If this is legit, then obviously all of the hardcore fans are going to stop watching because that's not Batman. But I honestly think that the fans are really just not wanting to like this, even though they do, because it's great. Honestly, season 1 and 2, if you haven't watched them, you really should. So, likelihood that Warner Brothers is going to turn Batman into a killer? No, I'm very freaking low. We're going to say 15% likelihood here. I want to give it lower than that because I honestly don't believe it'll ever happen in this universe, because Warner Brothers, at least as far as this show is concerned, is a little bit smarter than that, but there is that possibility that they're trying to pass the torch, if you will, and that would be an interesting way to get Batman out of the picture. He can't deal with what he's done, so he leaves Gotham entirely. Yeah, that'll do it. So there is a little bit more potential there than I want to admit. I will openly tell you that. Next, we're talking about Netflix. There are 2 rumors here. First rumor with Netflix is that they're in development for a live-action Pokemon series. And the second rumor is that there is a live-action He-Man series in the works. So we're going to approach these 2 separately. Pokemon Legendary owns the live-action rights to Pokemon. So this one is very unlikely. I'm putting that one at 5%. This just doesn't seem likely at all. Live action He-Man, though, yeah, maybe. They have the rights for He-Man, so why wouldn't they? And we do know that Netflix is looking for any excuse to create a joined universe with any one of their properties. So if they have the property, they're going to do what they can to make a big universe with it. I would be surprised if this didn't happen. We're putting this one at 80% likelihood for a live action He-Man. Next, we're still going, baby. Ahsoka Tano is our next rumor, and it's about a game. Lucasfilm Games is reportedly working on an Ahsoka Tano game. there is a little bit of Ahsoka that it remains to be explored that fans are actually looking for, and that is the Thrawn mission, what she does when she goes MIA on that mission to take out Thrawn. Yeah, that seems like fertile ground for a video game. I 100% believe that. Is that where this is going? They haven't said. The rumor does not specify, just says it's going to be Ahsoka Tano, and Lucasfilm Games is working on it. No specification either of who's going to voice Ahsoka. If it's going to be Rosario Dawson, or if it's going to be her voice from the animated series, that was not specified either, which again, the lack of specificity here definitely tends to its favor. So, likelihood that they're working on Ahsoka Tano, yeah, again, would be surprised if this was not already a thing in the works. 80% likelihood that this is going to happen. Next is we have two more rumors. The next one is Batgirl versus Supergirl, much like Batman versus Superman, only the female Latina version. We do now have each of these roles cast. They are not, presumably, we don't know until the movies come out, but they are not presumably in the same universe. But with the Flash happening, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So likelihood for this is stretching a little bit thin. Just because the characters have been cast does not mean that there's going to be any sort of connection between them. I honestly, when I first read this, like, I could kind of see it given the social climate of the day, but honestly, the most likely version of this is no. So we're going to put this one right about 30% likelihood. There is still a bit of a possibility. I just don't think it's very strong. Our final rumor for this episode has to do with Doctor Strange and the multiverse universe, the multiverse of madness. The big rumor here is that we are going to see what we were kind of sort of promised in WandaVision, in that not only is Scarlet Witch going to be part of it, but she is actually going to be the villain for the movie. All right, so there are two things here. Will Scarlet Witch be in Doctor Strange? Yes, we already know that for sure. Will she be the big bad? No. I'll put that likelihood pretty freaking low as well. We're going about 20% likelihood that she will be the big bad. Will she be adversarial to Doctor Strange? Probably in the first act of the movie, maybe even the first half of the movie, but the big bad for the movie, not bloody likely. She will be a roadblock. They will team up about halfway through at the latest, and then they will take on the big bad together. Believe me, they're not about to turn Scarlet Witch into a villain. They're just going to have her be a strong-willed woman, which, again, kind of makes sense considering the character. So, yeah, that is what we have for the Rumor Mill Nerds. And that is what we have for the episode. What did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down low. If though you want to go deeper in the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. Patreon.com/generallynerdy is the place to go support, get behind the scenes and all the stuff. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. If you are falling behind in your nerd news, you want to catch up, you can click or tap that stuff to the right of my face to do the things and to catch up and all that. And thank you very much. I'm going to go now. Always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.